Now, big changes have happened over the last few years, starting several years ago with Apple and their Safari browser increasingly not working well with certain types of third-party and first-party cookies, and now moving to a place where Google has even said in 2023 their browsers will move towards a cookieless world. Now, this is in response to a number of things. Some of it is competition between big companies. A major driver is from regulatory compliance issues in Europe, in California, increasingly in other parts of the world, where governments want to make sure that too much information about an individual is not being made available. And, I fully support that. As these changes are being made, the fundamental infrastructure of how digital analytics works has to change as well, right? We're going back to a lot of server-side tagging. So again, doing instrumentation or data engineering at the actual kind of server level to expose certain types of things that we may not be able to get easily through the browser anymore. We're getting a lot more information from app ecosystems. We're matching things to referring URLs with extra parameters, those campaign IDs. And when possible, we're able to look at individual behavior in a post-login kind of user way. And that's all being fed through to, in some cases, an interstitial instance of a cloud product like Azure or Google Cloud or Amazon Web Services, or directly into a tool like Google Analytics. But it's kind of interesting that this infrastructure is a very updated and more sophisticated, but similar version to what we were doing, 20 years ago. And it feels to some extent, especially with server-side and log analysis, and some of the things that are being touted as cutting edge, it feels a little bit like everything old is new again. And it's hard, unless you've lived through it, to put in perspective how little signal data a digital analyst had in, 2005 versus 2015. We had so much more data available to us. Media buyers and marketers were in a world where they could actually identify and speak to individuals based on their behavior with things like programmatic retargeting. That's all gone. We've really gone back to a bit of a 2005 paradigm in terms of what can we have and what can we do with it. Again, with some new school updates, but this is creating havoc inside our clients, our prospects, other people we know in the industry, and it's increasing that traditional disconnect between people that are focused on data and people that are focused on growing the business. Right? Data for reporting, because of these changes to cookie infrastructure and because of the slow speed that businesses are taking to upversion their infrastructure, there's data that's missing. There's data that used to be accurate and isn't. And there's a whole list of things that are types of data that used to be commonly available that will never be available again, right? There's lots of conflict here. The data for advertising and marketing no longer at all aligns with the expectations of the business, or even in some case regulations of governments, because a lot of it was third-party cookie driven, and those things are going away, right? Even in the industry at large, let alone inside an individual business or medium to large enterprise, we don't see a lot of clear plans on what do we do now and what do we do to set ourselves up for what will be coming down the pipe. Because I can guarantee you, I will bet you one shiny Canadian dollar coin that in the next 18 months, things will be coming out of Google, coming out of Facebook, coming out of regulations that will make changes again that are fundamental to how we capture and use data. We need to be prepared for these things, right?